This one's by the artist Raven Skyriver. Is his name. He's based in Seattle right now. His work is based in Seattle. It's from Lopez Island, where he grew up off of. It's off the northwest, sort of off the northwest tip. Maybe some of you have been there. Lopez Island off the northwest tip of Washington State.
It's part of the San Juan Islands.
Yeah, in that area, San Juan Islands, yeah. So this piece came from the Stonington Gallery in Seattle. They carry Raven's work. He's worked with Preston Singletary, who has done the Raven. If there's anybody who hasn't seen the White Raven that we have in the members lounge, it's done similarly to this sweet little guy, is that they do layers of glass. And he works as the team with about, I think it's 4 people usually. There are a lot of videos of this artist on the internet, and I have some of the videos that the gallery sent me. It's really great to watch because he does like one level of, say, the walrus's body, and then they run up and shape it. I did not see the walrus being made, but I'm amazed by the way his eyes are set in the glass.
Does he have an armature?
No. It's like he pulls the molten glass out of the oven. You know how if you've seen glass being blown or been around it or seen an example.
Not like that.
Yeah, not like this, right? This is pretty amazing. And he says that he challenges himself to make the animals look as realistic as possible. And then, he lets the layer cool down, and then they add another layer. I saw him making an octopus, actually, online, and he laid down like the red color of the outside, the outer body of the octopus, and you know how that's a different color on the inner part of the tentacles? Then they laid down that. And then they shape each piece.
He's doing it with his hands.
Yes, with his hands. So it's not, how a sculptor makes a clay model, and then they make a cast, and then they pour molten, metal or whatever in it. This is all made like shaping it while it's hot.
Does he have special gloves?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You have to.
Are they special?
Yeah, they are. They can withstand high temperatures.
Yeah.
But you'd have to be able to feel what you're doing.
That's what
Sort
I'm
of,
thinking.
yeah.
You have to be able to move your,
Yeah, I mean, they're, I've seen them, they're kind of heavy. People who work with glass all use those kind of gloves. But yeah, I guess the best way to look at it is watch one of his videos, and you can really see how this is made. That really shows you how many people he's working with, what he's doing. And as I said, he has collaborated with the other artist, Preston Singletary, who does more native-inspired artworks that have form-line images in them. He wants to be more realistic. He's trying to capture, he does mostly marine animals, this artist, so he's trying to capture the real marine animals he's encountered around Washington State. This is our first walrus ever.
Wonderful.
So hopefully we'll get some more marine life. That's kind of what we're missing in the collection, but I think he's a great start. So this artist is really interesting. We did not get the Shelley Reed, but we've had that out since it's at the Visions West Gallery in town. They're letting us keep it to show the high school people what we had as artworks, but that one didn't get chosen. This was the 4th piece that we had chosen. Fortunately, somebody was kind enough to step up and give us a little extra money so we could get this one. It's done by an artist named Star Hardridge, and he is Muskogee Creek from Oklahoma. Muskogee Creek people moved from Florida to Oklahoma. And Star Hardridge was trained in classical painting. So he knew about pointillism, which is what this painting looks like, pointillism and abstraction. And he was painting in sort of a traditional or classic style. And he decided that he wanted to show or give an example of some of his native heritage. And I talked to the artist about how he did this process, because it looks like beadwork, right?
Yeah, it does.
And he was studying beadwork. But what he does is he takes and paints a thin layer of Venetian plaster over the top of the canvas, sort of like you would put on gesso if you were prepping a canvas for oil painting. And then he takes a screen and he puts the screen over the top of the canvas and pushes down on it so he has a grid to work from. But he's still, if you'll notice and you look close, he's still applying one dot at a time so that he gets that beadwork effect. And if you look up his art online, he's done things that are a lot more realistic looking. This is one that he's going into abstraction. And does everybody see the primary wildlife focus in this? Because I have had to explain it. I'm glad you're all saying yes. But
Mostly saying yes.
You see a Power Ranger? Yes. I love that. I'm going to tell the high school
boys?
students.
She's a Power Ranger.
That's good. So the bison's nose in the middle. And the horn here, horn up here. This is sort of where he starts this abstraction that also references Native American designs. There's clouds up here that I can see. He doesn't really focus on one area of designs, I don't feel, but mostly I see this as a Western kind of reference painting, Western design in Native American art. He said that I talked to him on the phone right after we got this, and he was thrilled because he had just gotten, this year he had gotten a painting, or this past year, purchased by the Idledrag Museum, which is a huge museum in Indianapolis. And he had also gotten a painting purchased by the Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. And he's had 2 shows with the Blue Rain Gallery, and he's having a third, and his first 2 shows sold out. So hopefully I think he's on the rise fast. So this is a really interesting artist. But he said he sort of feels like the center is where he's grounded, and that all of this is swirling around him. So this is sort of a personal piece for the artist himself. And that he was studying beadwork, and that he's Native American, and he wanted to represent more of his history or relationship. He doesn't really, portray the art of one Native American group. Kind of swirls them all together.
I love the starry nights kind of.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not seeing the bison. I'm still seeing.
The bison? Yep. So see, this would be like the nose part of the bison, and then the forehead comes up here,
Oh, okay.
and here's a horn,
I gotcha.
and then there's a horn right.
Okay, I see. Okay. It's like roller derby.
Yeah.
it looks
I had to tell everybody at the dinner like 3 times because some people see it. I think it's about 50-50. It's yeah, it is interesting.
Well, some of them squint too.
I don't know if it's the direction and color.
Different colors they don't see well or something.
If they don't see the colors, maybe the same. The collections committee, I had to show them a lot of times too. I think more than half of them couldn't see it.
Only see abstraction.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
those sunglasses on.
I find the little patch of green really intriguing.
One
The
Right.
one little patch of green, yeah.
Right.
That he didn't put it anywhere else.
Evergreen.
and I would invite you to go up close to these.
Yeah.
It's like cartoons.
Some people and some of the students have said they've seen birds. Somebody told me a snake. So I suppose whatever. There is a term, and I can't remember what it is, when your eyes start to try to make sense out of a pattern and make it into a recognizable form. When it doesn't have to be, but the reason I thought this would be a good one was because I saw the bison and I said, that's wildlife. Because you can't tell from the title, it's Cycle of Abundance.
And the Power Ranger.
And the Power Ranger.
Is he represented by the gallery?
He's solely now, I think he's represented by Blue Rain Gallery in Santa Fe. And we got the White Raven from Blue Rain Gallery as well. This one is similar to the one we got, and it's actually here now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's in the back. Came in. Did it come in yesterday, or Lizzie, or the day before? Monday. Okay, so it did come in the day before. So it's the wolves, and we also have this. It's called medicine. Spacing. Medicine something. But then it flips to the other one. But so there's 3 examples by Terence Gardupi. Where is he? If you want to look at the name spelling. He's Blackfeet from the Blackfeet tribe. Still participates in the tribe. He ceremony dances, so he still goes to Montana and participates with his tribe. He also lives in Seattle. There he is again. He does these ledger drawings. How many of you have seen ledger drawings before? So you know some of you know what they're kind of about. But the practice of ledger drawing developed from Plains tribes drawing, painting on hides. So there would be on teepees, shirts, leggings, shields, that kind of thing. And they tell a story. So there's a lot of information, and the artist is going to talk to me either tomorrow or what's today? Thursday?
Wednesday.
Tomorrow or Friday afternoon. So he's going to explain to me what all of the symbols in the work he gave us mean. This could have something to do with time, seasons, could be like a phase of the moon, which could be a month. I've looked at Kiowa calendars before, studied those a little bit closely, and they will mark maybe a birth, a death of an important person. So there's a lot of information going on here. When Plains or Native people were taken into settlements or taken as prisoners in different forts, all that was available was ledger paper, pretty much, or ledger paper was available, and they were encouraged, Native people that a lot of them were prisoners, but they were encouraged to draw on the ledger paper. And a lot of amateur ethnographers, maybe a lieutenant or somebody at the fort would have this collection of Native drawings that told stories about the battles. So they were pretty important, and in the 1920s, they were big to collect. So a lot of the ledger work was, brought into mainstream art, the art world, and people collected them. So some of those original 19th century drawings, paintings are really valuable now, and they're in a lot of museum collections. Terence Gardupe is in a lot of museum collections himself, but this is a very contemporary style he does, and he puts it on, as I said, maps and ledger paper, so all of his are antiques. The one we got was from 1887. You didn't? Oh, I was looking at the date. I think that ledger paper that ours is on is from 1887. So he found a real ledger paper and put it on that.
And he's using historical picture writing.
Yes, so
Right.
he's still telling a story.
Right, but
Right.
using images that would have been used historically.
Probably, yeah. There's probably, I don't know a whole lot about Blackfeet
Yeah.
symbolism. Like I said, I've looked at some Kiowa ledger work, but his is very, he does a contemporary twist on especially the figures.
Interesting.
Because you can see that there's sort of the way his horse's hooves are, the way he depicts his animals. He went to school in Santa Fe at the Institute for American Indian and Alaskan Arts in Santa Fe. And that's where, like, if you've heard of Fritz Shoulder, T.C. Cannon, those people, where they learned. Alan Hauser started that school. It was the Indian school, but it was made into the college. And he developed his style there. And the colors he uses are contemporary, but see the hooves of the horses?
Yeah.
Implied like that.
Lots of action, I like that.
And you've probably seen this, you can even see this idea of the heart line
Yeah.
in the pottery we have in the American gallery, in the JKM gallery, or between those galleries.
What do you mean by heartline?
This is called a heart line. It's used by a lot of different tribes. It also tells you something about what the people were thinking about the animals. They want to have they want to learn the essence of the animal. Sometimes it's for hunting them. This case, probably they're hunting with the person. But the person is trying to get like this same hunting vitality or the spirit of the wolf, sort of. Like they want to be a wolf because they're hunting or they're going to battle. I don't know. Yeah, so I will know more exactly about what Parents Gardapi is saying after tomorrow or Friday. So I can tell you exactly what he's implying by all of those symbols.
Right.
And that's pretty interesting. But that's a lot of information, and there's a lot going on in his stuff. This one is on its way here from London. A gallery in London actually carried this. It's from China. Unfortunately, there's a 15% tariff that went into effect, I think, in December on artworks coming from China. The gallery owner was nice enough to include that in the total price of the piece with the shipping. That artist is named Hexi. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's Hexi. His is right here. Excuse me. Anyway, Hexi, it's very beautiful. It's done on silk. So I imagine there's a great sheen to the piece. And the bird, once this flips over, is a kingfisher diving into the water to catch that little unsuspecting fish at the bottom. And I've been asking the high schoolers, how do you know that the fish is underwater? And some of them get it, that the colored splash up at the top is the way the artist indicates this is an underwater piece. So we don't have any paintings with birds underwater. I know we have one fish at least, maybe a few more. But it's a very interesting way to portray the kingfisher diving and getting into the water, sort of a cutaway of an underwater view. There.
And it's small.
It is small. It's only like, I think it's,
Does it tell you there?
What?
does it say this size?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I think it's 11 inches high. It's either 11 or 17, so it's not very big.
Yeah, like tabloid papers.
Right. But this artist is very well known in China. He's in a lot of places in China, museums, and hopefully he will be gaining popularity here. I think he does such beautiful work. Some of it's kind of funny. He had one that was called City Life, and he had 2 tadpoles in a beaker, and they were just swimming around. And so he has a couple with he does mammals as well, and they're beautifully done, sort of like Chinese scroll paintings. The way he approaches them, he uses Chinese pigments and inks, and does sort of that watercolory effect that are on Chinese scrolls, if you've seen any scrolls from Asia, older works. But I think that'll be a really nice addition to our collection. So we have 3 native artists that are joining our collection and 1 artist from China. So
Diversity.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So some of these I might add to the contemporary exhibit that's going up in 2021. That has a lot of the pieces that we've got from Blacktail over the past.
I've seen them.
Yeah,
We're anxious to see them again.
yeah. So like the Preston Singletary will be in that show. Yeah, they'll be all together and you'll get to see them again. And then they're going to travel, so other people get to see them too. So
So is the theme of that show contemporary art or contemporary?
yeah, it's called Unnatural Selections, Wildlife and Contemporary Art. So a lot of the pieces that we have that are different, maybe address wildlife in a unique way that it might be different from, say, the way Rungus depicted these beautiful animals and beautiful landscapes, which is cool, but they're sort of questioning different things, and that's how I've sort of arranged it. Like, how do we use animals to address politics, or how do we use animals to tell stories, like Terence Garduce is. So different ways that animals are used, and actually how they have been used, but in contemporary, with a contemporary theme. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thanks, Tim.
No, it was fun to talk to you all about this.
Thank you.